Hey folks, this is Brandon Kavanaugh coming at you one-on-one. The thing I love about one-on-ones is that I already have a topic to talk to you about, so you know it's going to be good, and you probably know what this one's going to be about because everybody's talking about it, so naturally I have to get my 2 cents in. How interesting is it, folks, that Bo Pelini leaves Nebraska, and it not even necessarily the tape, and I'm not going to go into tape gate and all that. I'm not going to call it that because plenty of people already have. Before we get into that, now take into account this happened, and obviously there was probably some animosity as he left. I'm pretty sure we could figure that one out, right? All right. So earlier today, and today is what, the 17th of December, as I record this, he had his initial presser at Youngstown State. And in his initial presser at Youngstown State, he said, I've never had a president that gave me, well, basically, he said, to paraphrase, I never had a president that gave me support that knew about football. Okay, first off, Harvey Perlman knows quite a bit about football. Second off, it's not his job to know about football. Chancellor's job isn't to know about football. It's the athletic director's job to know about football. And in terms of the athletic director, he gave Bo support. And not only did he give Bo support, he gave him verbal, public support. Y'all remember back after the Iowa game in 2013 when Bo came out and dared essentially Sean and everybody to fire him, but he wasn't fired. Matter of fact, Sean came out and said, "We support him. We back him." Yeah, public support. And then Bo came out and apologized. So, okay, he got no support, right? Okay. So now we've established that Bo goes on. He goes to his Youngstown presser. You know, he gets to be paid millions. What is it? 150 grand a month, and he gets to be paid however much Youngstown's going to pay him. And he slams the administration at Nebraska at his second head coaching gig in the history of ever. I mean, that's just priceless to me. Now, let's talk about what happened. What everybody is talking about. You can say that the players' meeting never should have happened. Okay, that's one way to go. I mean, yeah, you could go with that totally. Now, honestly, I think the players' meeting was fine. I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's definitely something that you want to have. Where if a guy's leaving and he's been around for 7 years or whatever, you kind of want to have him say goodbye. But for Bo to have said what he said, and FYI, I don't care about the swearing. I don't really do. A lot of people are making a big deal about it, especially outside of Nebraska, which I'm sorry, folks. I mean, the people who think that it's a big thing in this situation to a lot of us, especially the people who, watch it day in, day out, it's really not. At least speaking for myself and the folks that I talk to. So the cursing isn't really it. It's the message behind it. I mean, at one point, Bo actually says it's not about him. It's the administration. It's the athletic director. It's the media. It's the fans that caused him to have these shortcomings. It's not pointing the finger or the thumb. In this case, it's pointing another digit. And it kills me. Just all the people that really did support. I mean, yeah, he can go out and he can say, all right, well, the folks up top didn't support me. And he can say the media didn't support him. And because, I mean, a bunch of the fan base believes that. But to come back and say that the fans didn't support him, and I'm sure that he's talking about the group that we've called them believers. But in his mind, I can't say 100% that he did just mean those people. I mean, it seems very much that he just felt like he was being attacked from all sides, after reading this transcript. And he comes and he says to these guys, "Hey, I've got your back. Whatever you want to do." I mean, he didn't out and out say you should transfer, which is great because that would just be career suicide. But he wasn't exactly saying, stay and absolutely 100%. He does say, give the new guy a chance, which is great. I mean, that's a positive, right? Looking for some positives out of this entire situation. But this was a perfect opportunity for him to come in and have a final heartfelt goodbye. And instead, it just made things worse. It made things more toxic for the program, and it made things harder for Mike Riley. Because now everything's just going to be more awkward for him. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, maybe it's not as bad as it could have been, but it definitely did damage. And not only did it do damage, but Pelini just scorched every bridge in Lincoln walking out of there. And it's just, if you're a younger individual watching this and you want perfect advice on how not to conduct professional relationships, number one, read the transcript, and number two, watch the Youngstown State Presser today. You will learn so much from those two things alone on how not to leave a previous employment or talk about a previous employer. So, this whole meeting, very toxic. Now, let's talk about another aspect of it. The only people in said meeting, we have Coach Kaz, defensive line coach, Coach Kaczynski, and players, 100-something players. Which means either Coach Kaczynski had a tape recorder right up here, is taking care of it, or one of those 100-some-odd players was recording it. This wasn't like the UCLA thing where there was a hot mic and people say, "Oh well, he didn't know," and could really play it off. One of Bo's own players who clearly didn't buy into what he was saying and maybe the process or whatever you want to use, one of his own players did this. One of his own players who clearly was disgusted, if not with what's been going on, then just that specific incident, did this. Don't know who. Not going to point fingers. Have no idea. It'd be stupid of me to do this. Really kind of silly anybody to do that. You know. But at the same time, I mean, just think about that. To say all this and then walk away and then pour even more gasoline on the fire where he's at now. What do you think if you're Jim Tressel? I mean, doesn't this give you pause for a minute to say, what did I just do? I mean, and I have not read Bo Pelini's contract, but usually in contracts like this, there's something that says, yeah, if you leave and you disparage us, that's probably going to cost you some money. I can't help but think that might be included in his Nebraska contract. We'll find out shortly. I have no doubt. If not, kind of a swing and a miss there. Just my take on it. But yeah, Jim Tressel. I'm kind of curious what he's thinking about this right now. Like, maybe, maybe not. Well, we'll see. Again, I'm sure that's something we'll find out as well. The interesting thing, the thing that I want to find out, I'm very curious about, just generally curious about. And I've seen people on Twitter and Facebook and, the place where I get the immediate pulse. A lot of Husker fans who truly did believe in Bo and gave him all the chances in the world feel betrayed and feel hurt. And I can't say they shouldn't be. I feel badly. And they feel horrible for supporting the guy. And I don't think they should feel that way. I really don't. It's I mean, it's tough to have gone from, yeah, this is, he's getting a bad rep, he's getting a bad deal, to wow, it's a bit of a swing. So for those folks out there that are watching this, if you suddenly feel that way, look, it happens, right? It I've done it. We've all done it. It's not a big deal. So as far as that, I mean, he's just truly shown that I don't think he's bought into the Nebraska culture. Now ask yourself this: the people that have been around, the last four coaches, or even what, four, five coaches that have been around for Nebraska. There's been Devaney, Osborne, Solich, and Callahan, and now Pelini. Now, obviously, people didn't believe Bill Callahan got Nebraska culture, and maybe they're right. I'm willing to lean that way, as a matter of fact. A lot of people have come after me and say, "Oh, he's a Callahan supporter." No, I can actually see the positives that he did for the program. Was he overall a good coach? Absolutely not. But he was pretty darn good at recruiting. I'll give him that, and I think you can, even if you don't like the guy. He did bring along a Ndamukong Suh after all, and that's a once in a generation type player. So hey, at least give him that much, right? But Bo Pelini, to go out and say that the people who did support him, at least on the most basic of level, the fans, and this is you guys, the people that Nick Saban. People want to talk about Bo Pelini in comparison to Nick Saban. Nick Saban had to go out and call out his fan base to show up at games. Bo never had to do that. Never had to show up. People showed up. It's a sellout streak. People showed up. It's just kind of a thing, right? So Bo may have had a lot in common with Nick Saban in terms of numbers and all that sort of thing, but no, Bo Pelini is no Nick Saban. Um, and quite honestly, I find it very hard to believe that Bo Pelini represented the University of Nebraska or the state of Nebraska at all. And that upsets me as a Nebraskan, quite seriously. It's like forget where my allegiances may lie in terms of football or sports or anything like that. I am a proud Nebraskan, and when you uh, when you represent me poorly and me and mine poorly, I get a little upset, and I end up in chatting to you fine folks as a result, because I feel I should exercise my First Amendment right. And I would like you to do so later, but we'll get to that in a second. So ultimately, this whole thing is very disappointing. I think that it's fortunate that we all got to see Bo's true colors. A lot of people on the outside of the program are going to be like, yeah, go, Bo, you tell him. And, no, it's fine, whatever. Sure. I just am very hopeful that this is going to be able to be cleaned up rather quickly, that Mike Riley comes in, nails another recruit or whatever. I mean, obviously, coming up in the dead period here, and people aren't going to be able to talk face to face or whatnot. But again, I've said this before, very, very excited about what he's going to be able to do in recruiting. Looking really forward to see how the staff uh, takes shape. Obviously, there are some people who are still working. Otherwise, I think they'd probably be all signed, sealed, and delivered, or at least public. We'll put it that way. So, how do you feel about what was said? I really, 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 one way or another, good, bad, whatever, I really, really want your comments in the section below. Please leave your comments in the section below. I don't care if it's good or bad. I want to hear what you guys have to say. In the meantime, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, please leave comments. Please leave comments. Of course, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and leave comments there. Absolutely. I want to hear from you guys on this. This is supposed to be a social experimentation. This is a perfect opportunity to really get that out there, and I really want to hear what Husker Nation has to say. So, In the meantime, take care, stay safe, go big red.